How narcissists feel when they've insulted others for their own shame. Here's another video about narcissists, and we're glad you could join us. I hope today is a wonderful one for you. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch and subscribe to my channel. It's fantastic that you can help out. I'd want to discuss the deepest forms of shame harbored by narcissists and the strategies they employ to hide them today. Every single one of us has had to face our share of public humiliation at some point in our lives. I hope that through reading this, you may all develop a deeper knowledge of shame in all its guises. However, narcissists steal the show because shame is so central to their life. What do you most regret not doing? Before we can answer it, we need to determine what we mean by shame. Now let's get clear on the differences between shame and guilt, two feelings that are commonly mixed up. Whenever we make a poor choice, we get that sinking sensation in our bellies. When we recognize we're at fault, or when we believe we failed in some way, we experience shame. Feeling guilty is admitting wrongdoing, whereas feeling ashamed is admitting responsibility for the wrongdoing. From this perspective, it's not so much what we do as who we are that determines whether we feel shame or not. Just like pain, shame is something that only the person who carries it can see. When it comes to lying, cheating, and manipulating, narcissists clearly have no remorse. Why? Because it makes them happy to do so. Despite this, they have an internalized sense of shame that they rarely discuss. Because they despise the horrible, vile creature they have become, narcissists experience extreme shame, which contributes to their profound misery and feelings of insecurity. They go to tremendous pains to disguise their genuine identities for fear of being caught. This is due to the fact that they have internalized the false belief that their actual, authentic self does not deserve to be loved and accepted. Narcissists are also afflicted with shame, but they are too proud to confess it. Because of this, they never once went there or made an effort to face that shame. If they just ignore the problem, they won't have to do anything to fix it. They also shun everything or everyone that would require them to confront the shame of what they are. The best strategy to deal with the shame they've found is to bury it as deeply as possible. Because they would prefer not expose who they really are, they must engage in all sorts of pretenses, including boasting and adulation. They focused excessively on projecting the image of the perfect companion they felt they deserved. They seem to have become one with their role. To ensure that no one pays any notice to them, they go to tremendous measures to conceal their true identities and the crushing despair with which they live. Those who struggle with the paralyzing effects of shame are always accompanied by a feeling of worthlessness. While they are aware of their difficulties, they are unable to accept them. As a result, they find comfort in creating an alternate reality in which they lie and cheat their way through life. This is why they continuously put up a front. Because of this, they disguise their genuine, filthy selves by imitating the personas of others or making fun of them. They would do all this self-help work to appease their ego and fake self, despite the fact that they are broken, dark, and wretched by nature. Since narcissists care so much about how others see them, they frequently try to hide their inner anguish and pain. They are so down on life on the inside that they have given up hope. So they're not just misleading themselves, but also the others around them. That's why, despite their wealth, they still feel so down about themselves. The shame remains a constant companion despite their various credentials and networks. No amount of money can buy back your dignity after you've been embarrassed. They keep piling on the disgrace as the years go by. As a result of this guilt, they feel terrible and sad. And it's the guilt that's at the root of all their anxiety. The narcissist's inability to cope with shame underlies all of their other insecurities. Publicly humiliating a narcissist might restore their sense of shame. Breaking up with a narcissist may leave you feeling humiliated and guilty. Life changes, such as becoming older or receiving constructive criticism, might trigger inferiority complexes. It makes sense that people would go to tremendous lengths to hide anything that would cause them embarrassment. The rejection of one's own identity manifests itself in this emotion. And why would any reasonable person knowingly put themselves through that? Narcissists spend so much time suppressing and acting that they don't have time to try other approaches that might help them. Their inability to rehabilitate is due in large part to the fact that they spend their entire lives shifting blame and searching elsewhere for solutions. They blame others instead of taking responsibility for their actions, admitting that something is amiss and that one is not flawless or okay, and then facing that darkness is the only route out of one's inner prison. They've lost any chance of persuading us that their new personas are more authentic to who they are. There is no place for them to hide anymore. In spite of their external looks, we know the truth behind the gloss and glamour. This indicates that the only people they are fooling are themselves. However, they can't count on anyone for assistance or rescue except themselves. Unfortunately, many people act in this way because they are too humiliated to confront the embarrassment of being honest with themselves, realizing that they, and only they, are accountable for bringing about change or offering assistance. They are trapped in an endless cycle of denial, suppression, and projection rather than addressing their greatest dread, shame. The deepest shame they feel comes from the fact that they are ashamed of who they actually are. We can't deny the reality that we've all felt shame at some point in our lives. Everyone experiences shame at some point, but narcissists generally bottle up their feelings and never let them out. They refuse to face up to their issues and take responsibility for their terrible actions. They refuse to reform their dishonest ways and instead choose to ignore society altogether. And a lot of their envy is rooted on deep-down guilt. A major coping mechanism against shame is narcissism. People who are tortured by an overpowering sense of shame frequently strive to seek external recognition as a means of covering up the damage to their self-esteem. It seems nice from the outside, but it's actually quite dirty inside. Everyone has met at least one narcissist. Their egotistical personality renders social relationships dull and one-sided, which can be difficult as friends or acquaintances. While comprehending their awful humiliation may help us feel greater sympathy, it does little to improve the quality of our interactions with them. Okay, I suppose that's everything I can think of right now. As usual, I hope this information proved useful to you. Feel free to post your comments and questions about this topic below. We eagerly await the chance to read them. If you liked this video and want to see more like this, please subscribe to our channel and turn on bell notifications. We appreciate you watching this. Thanks.